The champagne in my glass is from a single vineyard in Sonoma that produces fewer than 800 bottles a year. My assistant ordered a case of it for the executive suite at the Scottsdale resort, and the card that came with it said so in careful gold lettering. It costs more per sip than my mother spent on my entire prom night, including the dress she told me was too plain to be worth remembering. I am sitting on a private balcony overlooking a desert sunset so beautiful it looks computer-generated. The kind of orange to purple gradient that makes you feel like the earth is showing off. The air smells like juniper and warm stone. Everything here is quiet and expensive and still. My phone, however, is not still. It has been vibrating for 47 minutes. I look at the screen. 43 missed calls from my mother, 6 from my sister, 2 from an aunt I haven't spoken to in years, which tells me things have gotten truly desperate. I set the phone face down on the wicker side table and take another sip of wine. They told me not to come. Those were the exact words my mother used, delivered in the flat, certain tone she saves for announcements she believes are gifts dressed as instructions. It would be best if you didn't come, Maya. We want this to look a certain way, and frankly, with everything that happened with your divorce, you being there would make people uncomfortable. You understand? I did understand. I understood perfectly. I understood that my mother has spent 30 years making sure her younger daughter, my sister, was the family's public face. The beautiful one. The one who married a man named Garrett who drove a Range Rover and belonged to a country club and spoke in the confident drawl of someone who had never once been told the word no. I understood that my presence at my parents' 40th wedding anniversary, vow renewal, the event my mother had been planning since before the invitations went out, would remind people that one of her daughters was divorced. At 31, that one of her daughters had spent the last 3 years building something quietly instead of loudly. They wanted good optics. Garrett's money, my sister's beauty, my mother's performance of perfection. What they did not want was me, so I came to Scottsdale instead. I am here for what my assistant calls a quarterly review retreat, which is the polite term for the 3 days a year when the partners of River Oak Capital meet in a location too beautiful to be stressful and make decisions that will shape the next 12 months. There are 6 of us at the table. I am the youngest by 8 years and the only woman. I have learned to treat both of those facts like weather, something you note and move on from, not something you let decide where you go. The retreat ends tomorrow. Tonight I have a balcony and a sunset and a phone full of calls I have not answered. I pick it up now. Not to call back. I open the Livestream link my cousin sent me 3 days ago when she forwarded the party invitation I never officially received. Thought you'd want to see, she had typed, which is cousin speak, for I know you're being frozen out and I'm angry on your behalf, but I'm also going to send you the receipts anyway. The Livestream loads. The image is high quality, shot on someone's phone propped against a flower arrangement, angled wide enough to capture the full main room of the Piedmont Club. My mother chose that venue the way she chooses everything, by picking the most expensive version of the thing and then finding a way to suggest that anyone questioning the expense was the problem. The Piedmont Club is a renovated early 20th century textile mill in Charlotte. Exposed brick walls, arched windows, Edison bulb chandeliers, the kind of place that photographs beautifully and costs accordingly. My brother-in-law had offered to cover the venue cost as a 40th anniversary gift to my parents. My mother accepted so quickly she practically left a vapor trail. On the live stream, the room looks exactly as I would have imagined it. Gardenias everywhere. Round tables draped in ivory linen. A string quartet in the corner playing something that belongs in a movie where everyone is secretly miserable but very well dressed. My parents are at the center table, my father in a charcoal suit I don't recognize, my mother in an emerald green dress that I know cost more than she has ever admitted out loud. Everything looks correct. Everything looks expensive. Everything looks like it is about 30 minutes away from coming apart. I know this because I can see what the camera angle doesn't quite capture. The service door near the back, where 2 members of the catering staff have been standing motionless for several minutes. They are not serving. They are waiting. Their posture is the specific posture of people who have been told to pause service pending resolution of a financial issue. I pull my cardigan tighter and watch. My sister comes into frame first. She is wearing a blush pink dress that must have cost her the same category of money as my mother's green one, and she moves through the room the way she always has, like the space was designed around her specifically, like the party only exists because she exists within it. My brother-in-law is beside her, his hand at the small of her back, his smile bright and slightly too wide in the way that means he is performing rather than feeling. He looks like a man who is very aware of where all the exits are. My phone vibrates. It is my mother. I ignore it. Then it vibrates again immediately. The universal signal of genuine emergency or manufactured drama with my mother. It has always been difficult to distinguish between the two. On the live stream, I watch as the venue manager, a compact professional woman with a silver bun, approaches my sister and says something. My sister's smile does not falter, but her eyes change. That shift I know well. It is the look she gets when reality is presenting information that does not match her preferred narrative. She says something back to the manager. The manager shakes her head slightly. My sister's smile goes rigid. I turn the volume up on my phone. The audio is not perfect, but I can catch the shape of the conversation. Something about a payment, something about a processing error, something about the deposit on the catering service, which was apparently confirmed via an authorization code that is no longer authorizing. My brother-in-law leans in. His voice is too low to catch, but his shoulders are doing something I recognize. The slight curve inward, the chin dipping, the body language of a man who is trying to make himself slightly smaller. He pulls out his phone. I take a slow sip of champagne and watch the string quartet play on, unaware. My phone rings. It is my sister's number. I answer it. Tell me, I say. No greeting, no warm-up. Maya. Her voice is tight. Where are you? Why aren't you here? I need you to listen to me right now. I'm in Scottsdale, I say. You didn't invite me. That was Mom's decision, and it doesn't matter right now. It matters to me. There is a brief pause. On the live stream, I can see her standing near the floral centerpiece with her back half turned, phone pressed to her ear. The manager is still nearby, patient in the way professionals are when they are waiting to be paid. His card didn't go through, my sister says. The venue is saying the deposit authorization expired. It was supposed to auto-renew, but something went wrong on the bank side. He's calling them right now, but it's a Saturday night and the catering company is saying they won't start service until payment is confirmed. How much? The venue balance is $8,000. The catering deposit is $4,000. He just needs a little. It's a timing thing, Maya. Everything is fine and will be resolved in an hour, but right now there's a gap. A $12,000 gap. Can you just— She stops. Starts again. You have money. I know you do. You always have money. If you can just wire it to cover while he gets this sorted out, he'll pay you back by Monday. This is Mom and Dad's 40th anniversary. There are 60 people here, please. I look at the sunset. The last light is dissolving into the rim of the mountains, leaving a thin band of gold at the horizon. Put Mom on, I say. Another pause. Longer. Why? Because I want to talk to her. There is movement on the live stream screen. My sister crosses the room and hands the phone to my mother, who is standing near the entrance looking the way she always looks when things aren't going to plan, her chin slightly elevated, her expression frozen in the muscle memory of composure, while her eyes broadcast something closer to fury. Maya. My mother's voice is different from my sister's. Where my sister sounds tight, my mother sounds careful. That is always the tell. When she is genuinely frightened, she gets careful. She spaces her words. Hello, Mom. How's the party? The party is lovely, thank you. We just have a small situation. I heard. Good. Then you understand why I need you to handle this quickly. Before anyone notices. You told me not to come, I say. My voice is even. I practiced this evenness for years, in late-night drives and therapy sessions, and long quiet mornings when I taught myself the difference between keeping your feelings inside and simply choosing the right moment to release them. You said my being there would make people uncomfortable. Those were your exact words. Maya, this is not the time. You said I was a complicating factor in the family narrative. That it would be cleaner without me. Cleaner. Silence. And now you need $12,000. This is your father's anniversary, she says. You would let your father's 40th anniversary be ruined because you want to make a point? I look at the live stream. My father is still at the center table. He is not talking to anyone. He is sitting quietly with his hands folded in front of him, looking at the tablecloth. My father has been sitting quietly for most of my life. He is a man who loves his family deeply and expresses that love through the form of never contradicting his wife. which is a specific kind of love that costs the people around it a great deal. Tell me something, I say. Dad's coin collection. Is it still in his study? The silence that follows is a different kind of silence. It has weight to it. What does that have to do with anything? My mother says. But she says it too quickly. The last time I was home, the display case was empty. When I asked Dad about it, he said you had loaned the collection to be appraised. That was 8 months ago. It was appraised. He had a contact who specializes in rare coins. And then, what happened after the appraisal? Another pause. It was a practical decision. Your father agreed. I closed my eyes for a second. My father did not agree. I know this because 3 months ago, when I flew him to Charlotte for his birthday, just the two of us, he told me about the coins in the voice he uses when he is reporting facts from a great distance because looking at them up close is too much. He said the collection was gone. He said your mother thought it was the right thing. He said it the way you say something that you have already spent a long time accepting but still haven't quite absorbed. My grandfather spent 60 years collecting those coins. He started with a mercury dime he found in a parking lot in 1962 and built something that filled 2 glass cases in my father's study. My father used to let me sit with him on Sunday afternoons and he'd tell me the story of each one, where it came from, what year, what event in history it had witnessed. That collection was his inheritance and his ritual and his Sunday afternoon with the daughter who loved listening to him talk. Sold. To fund what my mother called a practical decision. I see, I say. So the collection is gone. Maya, I really need you to. Mom, I'm not going to wire you $12,000 tonight. Her voice shifts. The careful spacing disappears and the real register comes through, stripped of all performance. This is your sister's night. This is our anniversary. Do you have any idea how embarrassing this is? 60 people, sitting there, and the staff has stopped moving. People are noticing. If you had any decency left in you, any sense of family whatsoever. I have a great sense of family, I say. That's exactly why I'm not paying for a party I wasn't allowed to attend. I hang up. The string quartet finishes their piece. On the live stream, the room is still. A few guests near the back are beginning to exchange glances, the particular sideways look of people registering that something is off without yet knowing what. I refill my champagne glass. My phone buzzes. Text from my cousin. You watching this? Catering staff hasn't moved in 20 minutes. People are starting to ask questions. Then, also your brother-in-law keeps going outside and coming back and his face is getting worse every time. Then, your mom is circling the manager like a shark. I watch on the live stream as my mother does exactly that. She has positioned herself near the manager and is speaking with the controlled velocity of a woman who has decided that sheer social pressure can substitute for actual payment. The manager is listening with the expression of someone who has heard every variation of this conversation and is unmoved by all of them. I hear fragments over the audio. We are long-standing members of this community. This is a clerical error, and I find it extraordinary that you would allow a clerical error to embarrass 60 guests on the occasion of a 40th wedding anniversary. The manager nods slightly. Then she says something that makes my mother go still. I catch the words. The silent investor. And ownership group. And I'm not in a position to override this without that authorization. My mother says, what silent investor? The manager says, the venue was acquired 18 months ago by an investment consortium. Our policy comes directly from ownership, and our policy is that events with outstanding balances do not proceed to full service. My mother turns slowly. She looks at the room. She is recalibrating. On my balcony in Scottsdale, I set my champagne glass down and pick up my business phone. I scroll to the contact listed as D. Whitmore, my attorney and business manager, whose name appears on the documentation for Piedmont Ventures LLC, the holding company through which, 14 months ago, I and 2 partners acquired a portfolio of 3 event venues in the Charlotte area, including 1 renovated textile mill with arched windows and a price point that attracts exactly the demographic my mother has spent her life trying to belong to. I dial. He picks up on the second ring. I figured I'd hear from you tonight, he says. Are you watching the feed? Pulled it up when your cousin forwarded it. Your family throws an impressive party. Or they did, until about 40 minutes ago. I need you to call the venue manager. Her name is Sandra Chen. I need her to know she has full backing to enforce the contract terms without modification. No extensions, no courtesy holds, no exceptions. A brief pause. This is your parents' anniversary party, Maya. I know what it is. I just want to make sure you've thought this through. My father's coin collection is gone. He sold it 8 months ago. My mother covered for him. A longer pause. Make the call. I hear him exhale. Done. Anything else? Have the ownership paperwork ready. The deed documentation, the LLC registration, the acquisition records. I want it ready to put on screen if necessary. You're going to tell them. I'm going to let them ask. He makes the call. I watch the live stream. 3 minutes later, the venue manager's posture changes slightly, the small, invisible shift of someone who has just received information that recontextualizes their position. She straightens. She looks at my mother with a new quality of patience, the patience of someone who knows the ground is solid under their feet. She says something to my mother. I catch the word. Ownership has been confirmed, and their instructions are final. My mother's face does something complicated. My brother-in-law comes back inside. He crosses the room, and even on the grainy live stream I can see it, the hollow walk, the way his jaw is set, the specific defeat of a man who has discovered that the line of credit he was counting on has a limit he was not expecting to hit. He reaches my sister. He says something. She looks at him. He says something else. My sister sits down in the nearest chair. My father is still at the center table, his hands still folded in front of him, but his eyes are different. He is not looking at the tablecloth anymore. He is watching his son-in-law and his wife and his younger daughter, and he is seeing something he has maybe been not seeing for a very long time. My phone rings. My sister. What is going on? She says. The social smoothness is completely gone. She sounds like herself, which is a person I don't often get to speak to. His card has a fraud flag on it. He says it's a bank protection thing, cleared by Monday, but right now people are sitting at tables with no food, and the music stopped 10 minutes ago, and Mom is making everything worse. How long has he had a fraud flag on his account? Silence. That's a specific type of freeze, I say. It doesn't happen because you swipe your card in a new city. It happens because the bank has identified a pattern. Usually multiple large transactions in a short period, or a mismatch between reported income and spending history. Don't, my sister says. Don't what? Don't do that thing where you explain things like, I'm in a meeting. I'm your sister. I'm sitting in the middle of 60 people and I need to know what to do. I pause. On the live stream, my father stands up from the center table for the first time. He walks slowly toward my mother. He puts a hand on her arm. She shakes it off. Is Dad okay? I ask. My sister's voice shifts when I say that. Something loosens in it. He's been quiet all night. I don't think he's having a good time. I think he knows something is wrong. I know that thing. Maya. She says my name the way she used to say it when we were children, and she needed something real. Not the performance version, the real one. What do I do? Here's what you don't do, I say. You don't cover for him. Not tonight. Not in front of 60 people. Whatever excuse he has prepared, if you say it, it becomes yours. She is quiet for a moment. How do you know it will get worse? Because 3 years ago, when my own marriage was ending, I learned exactly what it looks like when someone you trust has been managing money in ways they never told you about. I learned it from the inside. The specific language he just used, unusual activity, pending review, cleared by Monday, that is a man reading from a script he has used before. The silence on the line is long enough that I watch my sister, on the live stream, reach up and press 2 fingers to her temple in the gesture she has had since childhood when something is too much. Get me the manager, I say. Don't explain why. Just hand her your phone and tell her someone needs to speak with her. Movement on the live stream. My sister stands and crosses to where the manager is standing near the service entrance. She says something. The manager takes the phone. This is Sandra Chen, the manager says. Sandra, this is Maya. I'm one of the principals in the group that owns the venue. A brief pause. Miss Collins, I need you to connect the main display screen, the one on the east wall. I'm going to video in. A longer pause. Are you sure? I'm sure. On the live stream, I watch as Sandra Chen crosses the room to the AV booth. She speaks to the technician. There is a moment of activity, And then the large screen mounted on the east wall of the Piedmont Club, which usually displays wedding slideshows and anniversary photo montages and carefully curated family histories, flickers on. The image it shows is a private balcony in Scottsdale, Arizona. A desert sky going deep purple behind a woman in a pale gray cardigan, a glass of champagne in her hand, looking directly into the camera with the particular calm of someone who has been waiting a long time for exactly this moment. I watch my mother's face on the live stream as she looks at the screen. The expression she makes is one I don't think I have ever seen from her. It is not anger. It is not surprise. It is the expression of a person who has just seen the architecture of the last several years rearrange itself into a shape they cannot look away from. "Hello, everyone," I say. My voice comes through the venue speakers, steady and even. "I'm sorry to interrupt the anniversary celebration. I know most of you didn't know I'd be joining tonight." My mother takes 2 steps toward the screen and stops. "For those of you I haven't met, I'm Maya, the other daughter, the one who wasn't on the guest list." I let that land for exactly 1 second. I also happen to be one of the 3 principals in Piedmont Ventures LLC, which acquired this venue 14 months ago. So, while I wasn't invited to the party, I technically own the building you're standing in. The room is absolutely silent. All 60 guests, all the staff, the string quartet, everyone has gone still. My father is standing at the center table, and he is looking at the screen with an expression I can only describe as recognition. Like he is seeing something he knew the shape of, but not the detail. My mother finds her voice. "Maya." She says it quietly, which is more frightening than if she had screamed. "This is not the time." "I know it doesn't feel like the time, Mom. But 60 people who dressed up and drove here and sat down expecting a dinner deserve to understand what's happening. His payment didn't go through. It's not a bank error. I've spoken with people who know more than I'd like to know about how his accounts have been structured, and what's happening tonight is a symptom of something that's been going on for a while." My sister stands. Her face is torn between defense and the terrifying possibility that I'm right. "Maya, you don't know." "I know about the coin collection," I say. The room shifts. I watch my father's hands, folded on the table, tighten. 8 months ago, Dad's coin collection, the one our grandfather built over 60 years, the one that's been in the study since I was a child, was taken to be appraised. It was never returned. It was sold. I look directly at the camera. "Dad, I need to hear from you. Tell me what happened." My father stands up very slowly. He is 63 years old and moves like a man who has been carrying something heavy for a long time. He looks at my mother. He looks at the screen. He clears his throat. "The coins are gone," he says. His voice is quiet, but the room is so silent it carries. "Your mother said it was the right decision, that the money went toward the party." He stops. "I didn't fight it. I should have fought it." My mother turns to him. "Robert, I should have fought it," he says again, and the repetition carries more weight than any argument. My brother-in-law is at the far edge of the room. I can see him on the live stream, near the coat check, inching. He is making the calculations of a man assessing whether he can leave before things get worse. Sandra Chen is positioned near the exit with 2 members of her staff. None of them are looking at their phones. "There are 2 options here," I say, and my voice through the speakers is not angry. It is the tone I use in boardrooms when I want someone to understand that the conversation they thought they were having is actually a different one. "You can stay and we can discuss the outstanding balance on the venue, the catering, and the band, as well as whatever arrangement was made regarding the coin collection. Or you can try to leave, in which case I have documentation ready to send to the district attorney's office, where I have a contact who has been waiting for exactly the kind of paper trail the last 18 months have generated." The room makes a sound. Not a single voice, a collective intake of breath. He stops moving. My grandfather's collection had a documented appraised value of $62,000. I know this because I had it independently appraised 2 years ago as a birthday gift for my father. I have the report. I have the photographs. What I will have by Monday morning is the name of every dealer contacted and exactly what was received for them. My sister sits back down. Her face is the face of someone watching a building she thought was solid discover that the foundation has been hollow for years. My mother walks up to the screen. She stands in front of it, filling the camera's view with her green dress and her set jaw and the specific blankness of someone who has run out of script. "You want to humiliate us," she says. "That's what this is. You're humiliating your father on his anniversary because we didn't invite you." "No, Mom," I say. "I'm doing this because Dad's coins are gone and he's sitting at his own anniversary party wondering how it got here, and he deserves to know that somebody is going to get them back." My father makes a sound, not a word, just a sound, low and private, that carries across the room and lands somewhere behind my sternum. "Sandra," I say, "please resume service. The outstanding balance will be covered tonight through Piedmont Ventures directly. I'll handle the reconciliation separately." Sandra nods. She signals to her staff. The kitchen doors open. The catering team begins to move. The string quartet starts playing again, something quiet and measured, like the soundtrack to a situation that has just passed its crisis point. My mother sits down. Not at the center table. At the edge of the room in one of the chairs usually reserved for vendors. She folds her hands in her lap and looks at her dress. My brother-in-law is escorted from the venue by Sandra Chen. He leaves with his jacket and his explanations and the specific silence of a man who knows the next few days are going to require a lawyer who charges more per hour than he currently has access to. I watch my sister in the live stream. She is sitting at the table alone, very still. On the table in front of her is the centerpiece gardenias and white candles, exactly as my mother ordered, and she is looking at it the way you look at something that was beautiful before you understood what it cost. I want to call her. I want to tell her. I know this feeling. I lived this feeling. 3 years ago when my own marriage ended and I was standing in a different wreckage, and the thing I wanted most was for someone to have warned me earlier. But there is nothing to say tonight that will land the way it needs to. Tonight she needs to sit with what she knows. I'll call her Sunday. For now I turn away from the screen. The desert is dark. The stars are out in the specific extravagance they achieve in dry climates, the way they get when there is no humidity to soften them. My champagne glass is nearly empty. The retreat starts again at 8 tomorrow morning, and I have a presentation to give that took me 6 months to prepare and that I intend to give very well. My phone buzzes. A text from my father, which is unusual, he prefers to call, always has. He types slowly and with full punctuation, which I find endearing and which says something about who he is. The text says, "I knew you'd find a way to be there. I've always known you find a way." I sit with that for a long time. 6 weeks later, I drive to Charlotte in a car I bought used and like very much. I am meeting my father for coffee at a diner we used to go to on Sunday mornings when I was in high school, the kind of place with vinyl booths and coffee that is not artisanal and eggs that come with toast as a matter of course. He is already there when I arrive, wearing the cardigan my mother has been trying to throw away for 15 years. On the table between us, he has placed a small box. He pushes it toward me. "I found them," he says. 3 of them. I went to every dealer in the county. Most of the collection is gone, but I found 3 of the ones you used to love. The 1,916 Mercury dime, the 1,921 piece dollar, and the buffalo nickel with the full horn, the one your grandfather found in a parking lot. I open the box. The 3 coins are nestled in a piece of folded chamois cloth, worn and particular, carrying the weight of 100 Sunday afternoons. "I have a friend," I tell him, "an estate specialist who tracks rare coins. She's been working on locating the rest. It takes time, but she's good." My father nods, wraps both hands around his coffee mug. "Your mother and I are going to counseling," he says. "I don't know what it will do, but I thought you should know." "I'm glad," I say. And I mean it. The same way I mean it when I hope for things that may or may not become true but deserve to be hoped for anyway. I close the box with the 3 coins inside. I have a place for them already, a shelf in my apartment where I keep the things that belong to the version of my life that is mine and no one else's. "Dad," I say, "were you okay? At the party. Before everything, were you okay?" He is quiet for a moment. Then, "No. But I am now. That is enough. That is more than enough." We drink our coffee and eat our eggs with toast. The diner is warm and slightly loud and smells like the particular comfort of places that have not tried to become something other than what they are. My father tells me about a coin show in Raleigh next month and asks if I want to come. I tell him yes. Outside, the morning is bright and ordinary, the kind of day that doesn't ask anything of you except to be present in it. I leave with 3 coins in a box. A father who texted me at his own anniversary to say he knew I'd find a way, and the clean, settled feeling of someone who has finally stopped explaining herself to people who never deserved the explanation. People always say success is the best revenge. But sitting in that diner, watching my father's hands wrapped around a coffee cup, I understood that revenge was never the point. Revenge means they were still the center of the story. They were not. The center was always the Sunday mornings and the coins and the man across the table who loves me in the way that is quiet and consistent and real. The center was what I built in the years they spent looking away from me. And when the moment came, I was there. Not to hurt them, not to prove them wrong, just to stand in my own life, fully, with the lights on. If you've ever been the one they overlooked, leave a comment below. Tell me where you're watching from. And if this story found you at the right moment, you know what to do.